I love GTA Online, but there are a lot of things in this game that make absolutely zero sense. So much so that this is my third video on the topic, and I could probably find more if I wanted to. So now please enjoy 15 minutes of things that don't make sense in GTA Online. So here's the bedroom interior at Eclipse Towers. It looks pretty standard, has a balcony, a window, you know, pretty fair play. You could tell that this is a corner unit as well because the roof stops right there in the corner. It would keep on going if this was a unit in the middle. Pretty standard fare overall. But this is that exact room from the outside. Now, I don't know which exact floor it's on, but these are one of the units, and it makes zero sense because these don't have balconies. The windows look completely different, and it's just kind of strange to compare and contrast both of them because when you look at the interior and you look at the exterior, they just don't line up. There was also one of these in the first episode where I talked about things that don't make sense, and we were looking at the office and the office auto shop, and the windows just didn't line up. Here is the exact same thing, but on a smaller scale, and this one has been in the game for a very long time. On the Hustler, there's a customization to remove the hood and put a bug catcher on it. That being said, the function of being able to open and close your hood with your key fob does not go away, and you can still do it even though there is no hood there. Matter of fact, you can still hear the hood closing and opening. Take a listen. Very strange. I don't know why Rockstar didn't just remove the feature to open your hood. Maybe they were just rushing this car out, and quite frankly, I like the Hustler and I don't really care. Still something that makes absolutely zero sense, however. You can see car headlights pass through this part of the freeway. They just completely pierce through the floor and you can see it from below. Something that doesn't make too much sense to me is that the people standing outside your nightclub don't vary depending on how populated your nightclub is. So if you have a pretty low popularity rating and it's like 1 bar or 2 bars, there will still be equal amounts of people outside as if you had 5 bars of popularity. There's just a bunch of people waiting to get into a dead nightclub, which, I mean, in and of itself doesn't make a lot of sense. But I think Rockstar just did this for ease of use because then they would have to change the amount of people outside, and quite frankly, I don't think Rockstar wants to do any more work than they have to right now because they're focused on GTA 6. So I can understand that, but it still just doesn't make sense to me at all. Ever since I first started playing GTA Online when I was just a little boy, let's not get into why I was playing GTA Online as a little boy, but it never made sense to me why I could deposit money from my phone. I was like, do I just insert the dollar bills through the USB port and the bank gets it somehow? Or it just didn't make much sense to me at all. Matter of fact, if you go over to an ATM, you can also deposit an unlimited amount of cash, which firstly is illegal. I'm not an expert in finances or the bank world or whatever, but I'm pretty sure you have to, over a certain amount, go inside and then you have to tell the bank how you got it and do the appropriate process. But here you could just deposit $2.4 million like nothing. And also, I'm pretty sure a lot of ATMs cannot hold $2.4 million. So if you tried to deposit all this money, the ATM would get like full and then you just wouldn't be able to deposit any more money, because at that point it's pretty much a safety concern, because if someone comes along and steals the ATM with a truck and a winch, then they just made out like a bandit with 2.5 million for not a lot of work. They didn't even have to go inside the bank. Obviously, from a gameplay standpoint, this makes perfect sense because it's easy to use, but from a realistic standpoint, it's very funny and doesn't make sense at all. So the next DLC is confirmed to have Yousef Amir return from GTA 4 as a business partner with us. We will open a salvage yard with him and steal high-end cars and then either scrap them for parts or sell them to collectors, which sounds about right for Yousef, but this is the property where we will be working out of. Now, the DLC is not out yet, so it will look a little bit different than this when it comes out, but Yousef was not the guy in GTA 4 to run a business that looks like this. He had a high-end luxury apartment in downtown Liberty City, and quite frankly, he just doesn't seem like the type of guy to work out of a business that looks like this on the outside. He lived a very extravagant, wealthy life. So to me, from a lore standpoint at least, it doesn't make sense as to why Yousef would settle for this, because nothing about this property screams luxurious, extravagant lifestyles. It just looks like an old, rundown and salvage yard, which doesn't make a lot of sense to me at all as to why Yousef would want his name associated with that. But maybe when the DLC comes out, the interior will look nice, and I guess that makes sense from an operational standpoint because you don't want the cops, but it's still odd. Something I really hate and doesn't make a lot of sense to me at all is basically the world in GTA Online. So here is this little sidewalk next to the Maze Bank Tower. It's pretty barren. It doesn't have a lot going on. It's just a sidewalk and nothing else. But if we head over to story mode, this is how it looks like. It has plants, benches, and there's a lot more NPCs. There's also a street pole, and it just makes the city look so much more alive. There are places like this everywhere in story mode. I picked this one just because it's the most obvious, but I think Rockstar purposely decontented GTA Online to run it better. And I can understand that, but we have very powerful consoles now. We have PC. Our consoles could handle a little bit more objects in the world. I understand when they did this when Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 were around, because those were not very powerful consoles, let me tell you. And if you played it on those consoles, I think you would greatly appreciate that Rockstar did this. But now it just doesn't make a lot of sense as to why they keep it. Something else I really hate that Rockstar did that makes absolutely zero sense to me is that they removed adding DLC cars into regular NPC traffic. Basically, I will give you a quick rundown on how the traffic works in GTA Online, or at least the car aspect. So basically, there are certain rotations of cars that are in rotation. Maybe there will be 14 different cars in the city, and in Blaine County, there will be maybe 9 different cars on rotation. But only one of these rotations can happen at once. And some of these rotations include DLC cars from up to, I believe, the business update. Someone in my comments claimed it was from until the heist update, but I don't know what car from the heist update they could have added that I see on a regular basis. But cars from the business DLC and the beach bum DLC, you see those cars on the street occasionally. These rotations are very rare to find, and when you do find them, there is even a weird bug, or maybe it's a game design, where you will just get kicked off the vehicle and you cannot drive it. It becomes completely useless, and it's so annoyingly stupid and frustrating because it's possible for Rockstar to add new DLC cars to traffic. And not all of these new DLC cars are fast. Most of these are pretty slow, and they would balance perfectly well in traffic. So I don't know why Rockstar stopped doing this. Maybe it would make it more complex for them to have more rotations of traffic. But as a player who's been playing this for a very long time, seeing the same vehicles in traffic over and over again all these years, and yeah, overall it just doesn't make sense as to why Rockstar keeps on doing this, because they can do it. They just don't want to, I guess. Something that doesn't personally make sense to me is that there are 3 bodies of water in the Los Santos golf course. And I've never gone golfing in real life, and I'm not an expert in golfing or whatever, but I'm pretty sure golf balls are pretty expensive. I saw a meme one time about, I was pretty deep on the internet, okay? And it was talking about how these golf balls are pretty expensive. And I'm like, okay, that's reasonable because, you know, you could reuse them many times. But if there's multiple bodies of water on a golf course, you're gonna maybe lose the golf ball a couple times. And I wouldn't want to lose my $50 golf ball into the water. Maybe I bring 10 with me and I lose 4 of them to the water. But then again, maybe if you're using those high-end golf balls, then you're a more advanced or at least somewhat better golfer than the average person. So maybe you could avoid the bodies of water, but to a novice, like beginner, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me as to why there are 3 bodies of water on a golf course, because if you suck, all of your golf balls are going in the water. The sand I can understand because that's an actual thing. You know, you're not supposed to get in the sand, you're supposed to avoid it. I'd rather have sand than water. It really doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Rockstar confirmed in the newest newswire that they will be adding animals to a GTA Online update coming this December. And this is fantastic. I'm really excited for the animals, but it had to take them this long. The current generation consoles we're on have been out for what, like 2 years, maybe 3? I don't exactly remember. They've been out for a while, so why are they taking this long towards the end of GTA Online's life cycle to add animals? It just really doesn't make a lot of sense to me, and a lot of people are probably going to say, oh, just be happy they're adding them at all, but it's kind of a lame excuse because they really should have been as soon as possible. Maybe as soon as the next generation consoles came out and the newest version of GTA Online came out, it would have been great for them to have added animals back then, because that would have given us an extra 2.5 years with them. As for releasing it on Xbox One and PlayStation 4, I can completely understand that, because with animals running around everywhere, rendering on people's screens, the game probably wouldn't run very well. And as someone who used to play on a pretty old Xbox One base, not the Xbox One S, just the regular Xbox One, full 30-player lobbies were hell in and of itself. So I would not want animals in the equation as well. But it just kind of sucks that it took them this long to add them. Once again, I'm grateful that we're getting them in the first place, but it shouldn't have taken them this long. They should have added it when they added HSW to next generation consoles. Maybe this is all strategic and they're just trying to make a really solid GTA Online update to back the announcement of GTA 6 with the now released GTA 6 trailer. I'm not even going to get into that mess, how they had to release it a day early because someone leaked it, but it doesn't make sense why they took this long. In the cemetery, there are multiple tombstones that look the exact same. And normally in cemeteries, some tombstones will look the same because, you know, maybe they only offer a dozen or something. That's perfectly normal. But I'm talking about exact same. All these tombstones have the exact same date. They are the exact same stone. Like, it must have been a bad day on July 20th, 1949, because I don't know why so much people died on this day. And even if it was like a massacre or whatever, or some big accident and multiple people died, usually when that happens, they put all those survivors, or I mean, maybe not survivors, but they put all those people together to kind of honor the event and what happened. But it doesn't make sense why Rockstar couldn't just enter a new date. I'm sure it would not have taken that long to have a really polished game. It would have been nice to see details like this. I have no doubt we will see a detail like this in GTA 6, completely revamped. I highly doubt we will see stuff like this because they fixed it in Red Dead Redemption 2. All those tombstones, everything in Red Dead Redemption 2 is completely proprietary and brand new. Almost no objects are repeated, which is fantastic, and I really do hope we get a lot of that in GTA 6 as well. But as for the cemetery in GTA Online right now, it doesn't make a lot of sense as to why so much people died on that day, but who knows, maybe it was a massacre and they were just too lazy to put them all together. In the same newswire that Rockstar made recently, they also said that GTA Plus members will get access to the Vinewood Car Club Garage, a new vehicle storage facility with the capacity to hold 100 vehicles. And that's fine. I have no problem with that. You know, if you want to buy GTA Plus, whatever, you do you, because that's honestly not a bad deal. Now that I'm thinking about it, I kind of want that. But regardless, I'm confused as to how the logistics of this will work. It just doesn't make sense in my head because GTA Plus is a monthly subscription service that you subscribe to every month. So if you subscribe to it 1 month, do you get it outright as a property, like a one-time thing? Or if you cancel your monthly subscription, all your cars in the 100-car garage will just disappear? I certainly hope the latter isn't true, because that would be incredibly unfortunate if you fully stock a 100-car garage and Rockstar just deletes it because you forgot to pay them 1 month. But yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me as to how the logistics of this will work out, but I guess when the update comes out, we will see. And maybe if you plan on getting that, make sure you're already a GTA Plus member or you're dedicated to paying that every month, because until we know for sure, I wouldn't want to risk losing 100 cars. Something that irritates me so much as a car guy is the fact that our cars have no tags. They have a month tag on them, which is fine, but they don't have a date. And a date it could be a rough date. It doesn't have to be the exact year, because the tag will probably say 2013 because all these plates are from 2013, or I don't know how that would work, but it could at least say like the 23rd of July or the 14th of January. It doesn't say nothing on the orange sticker. It's just a blank orange sticker, and it's so ugly. It's just an eyesore every time I look at it. That's the only thing I like about the exempt plates, even though most of you guys hopefully know my opinion on exempt plates. It really doesn't make a lot of sense to me as to why Rockstar just doesn't add a date. You can change the color of your headlights by going into your arena workshop, and that's pretty standard. I don't really care about that. But these are so expensive. Some of these are $70,000. Like, really? I know in real life it don't cost no damn $70,000 to change the color of your headlights. All you do is you go to Home Depot, you get some clear film that's red, and you wrap your headlights with it. I'm sure there's a better way to do that, but you get what I mean. It's not that expensive to put a red light bulb in your car or something like that. I don't know why Rockstar absolutely just scams us on this. Now, I will say these are the arena trade prices before you unlock them. So if you've been doing arena, which no one on this planet's Earth has done, you probably get slightly cheaper headlights, but it doesn't make a lot of sense as to why these are so damn expensive. I'm pretty sure most of you know about the exotic exports by now. To me, they're pretty annoying because they pay almost no money and they kind of just leave a blue blip on your map that no one ever does because it pays no money. And that's exactly what I'm rambling on about here. They pay no money. It doesn't make sense as to why this exotic hypercar that in-game costs like $2.7 million. Oh yeah, when I sell it, all I get is a measly $20,000. And I get that Rockstar doesn't want to give us too much because, you know, balance reasons and whatnot. But even if these were $100,000 cars, nobody would do them because they're kind of just bad. Nobody does that right now. It's called import exports. Nobody does that business. It's basically this, but pays more. Makes no sense as to why these are so cheap. Something that really does not make a ton of sense to me at all is the fact that you can go to your local clothing store, and it's a high-end clothing store, but regardless, and you could just buy a bulletproof vest and tactical gear. Like, what the hell? Me personally, I think Rockstar should make a dedicated like SWAT store or some sort of military store where you could buy like gear like that, because then it would make sense to sell stuff like that. And if it was one location on the map, it'd be much better than going to any location on the map and buying a bulletproof vest from your local Goodwill or something. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me at all. And this is something that could have been easily avoided. This military type gear only started getting added around the heist update, and back then they should have seen the trend of military type updates being added to GTA Online, so they should have just made a dedicated military store to buy stuff like this. A huge missed opportunity in my opinion, and I could find a dozen buildings on the map that would be suitable for a store like that, but this is the least of Rockstar's worries right now, but it still just makes zero sense at all. The Chernobog has 15 missiles in its tank that it carries on the back. And you're like, okay, pretty standard. But it shoots more than 15 missiles. So I don't understand why Like, you may as well have just put 10 or something to make it look slimmer. And once again, I get that they did this for balance reasons, but no one even uses the Chernobog. I think if you made the missiles way better and you limited them to 15, it would balance itself out and people may actually use the Chernobog. But even then, people still probably wouldn't use it because you need to give it more rocket resistance. You're sitting duck because you have to be planted in the ground when you're shooting, but the whole capacity situation just doesn't make a lot of sense. I actually never even noticed this, but thanks to my viewers who watched my Every Gun in GTA Online video, go check it out if you didn't, a pretty good video, but they noticed that the slide only moves back after every other shot. And now that I see this, I cannot unsee this. Every time I fire a handgun in this game, I see it in my brain. It's piercing through my brain, and I just can't get it out of my head that it moves back every other shot. Now, it only does this when you hold down the trigger or whatever button it is on other consoles. If you just tap it, the slide moves back properly every time. But for some reason, when you hold it down, the game just doesn't like that and decides to act strange. So thank you so much to the viewers who pointed that out. That is sarcasm, by the way. Thank you so much for ruining my life. But in the grand scheme of things, it really doesn't matter too much. But in the end, it still doesn't make sense as to why the slide doesn't just slide back every shot like it's supposed to. Just please end my life now, motherfucker. And that is it, everyone. 15 minutes of things that make absolutely zero sense in GTA Online. Now, this is not me nitpicking about the game. I love the game so much, or else I wouldn't be a YouTuber centralized around this game. This is just me having some good old fun, poking fun at Rockstar for making things that don't make sense. And with that being said, thank you all for watching, and goodbye.